Ladies and gentlemen, the following is scheduled for one fall. It is time for That Way Cool Wrestling Show! Hello and welcome to That Way Cool Wrestling Show. My name is Danny J, along with Mad Mark Lindsay, Grand Onslaught Jackson, and the Gemini, Charles Gregory. Finally, for the first time in Season 2, we're all together. You realize that?
Dan, I hate to tell you, but I have an assignment for you.
We have no assignments this week.
Yeah, the Grand's off assignment right now.
We got no assignments this week. So just wanted to say it's good to be back together again. This is going to be a pretty good episode. We're going to be talking about, it's really big news, which is the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, which we've touched on before. Billy Corgan, lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins, he did a lot of stuff with TNA, and he's a big wrestling fan, and he's actually done some wrestling promotion. He bought the NWA itself. I'm not going to go into super detail because I kind of did this nauseum, but he bought the entire NWA. But he just recently did a interview. I want to give them credits on the Busted Open, thank
Sirius
you.
XM.
On Sirius XM, where he spoke about in some detail his 20-year plan for the NWA. So, he's not just buying a promotion saying, let's see what happens. He actually has a plan with it, and what he went on to say, and I'm going to paraphrase, would be that, one, he wants to have a singular vision as to where he wants the company to go with and to do. And his main objective, or his main obstacle, was with all the franchises that the NWA has, especially over the years, and with the lack of leadership on the back end, a lot of these little mini promotions ran their own thing. They had the NWA name, but they were doing their own thing, and in some cases, people felt it wasn't to the benefit of the National Wrestling Alliance name, and therefore we're giving it, diminishing the name and the product and stuff like that. So he had a singular vision, and he basically said that since there was too many obstacles, and mainly he said, big fish in little ponds that were not supervised and weren't willing to kind of get in with the fold, he abolished the franchise program altogether. So as of the end of their term, all those franchises are done. Okay, so if either you're joining the NWA and following what his direction will be, or you're going to have to go about your business and get another license or whatever the case is. And it sounds selfish. It sounds like, almost like Vince McMahon-ish in a sense, almost like gimmick Vince McMahon. But it makes sense because he's, you gotta, if you're going to have a representation of such a large promotion, you really do have to have some kind of a singular idea. And he did go on to say, he said, listen, if it's successful, then I'm going to be very proud of what I've done. If it's not, then I only have myself to blame. And that was creditable to him. I got to say that was good. Mark, you are always looking for nostalgic and have some kind of alternative to watch and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
I like the direction. Well, in the interview, he said, I don't want to make a bunch of promises I can't keep.
Yes.
The fact that he's grounded, he's taking his time with this. He said he starts, hopefully, to have shows start in spring.
Free shows. Free shows on the
internet.
On the internet. Free shows on the internet.
Which, let's be honest, network aside, which is still the best $10 a month I spend, a lot of... I watch Ring of Honor on YouTube.
That, Mark.
I'm sorry?
Your wife pays that bill, but go ahead.
Well, you know what? That's true. So, but I watch Ring of Honor on YouTube. In 2017, it's acceptable to watch your TV shows on the internet. My cable is through YouTube TV. I watched the Sixers lose the other day, but it was on the internet. So in 2017, that is an acceptable way to watch it, and he's going to make it available so you don't have to have a cable or satellite subscription. You can watch it online for free, which I know it sounds obvious, but that's how you get an audience. That's how you get
his thing. And he did go on to say, he said, listen, the NWA core audience is the average age of about 50. And that makes sense. because you're talking about the people that really were into the NWA, which dates back to early Jim Crockett Promotions and all, are between 40 and 50, which is our age group. You know what I mean? You know, but
Speak for yourself.
yeah,
Yeah, some of us are 60. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Get your walker in there. Yes. But he did say, though, in order to have growth, you have to adhere to the younger audience as well. So he's got to do something where it's going to not negate the core base, but also be able to open up to the new base and give them something different, something that everyone would be happy with.
So I don't want to make it sound like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid already, all right? Because this is still very young and in its infancy.
Yeah.
We don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
But he's been releasing videos of the NWA champion Tim Storm through, I think, the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Basically putting out these videos saying, this is my world champion. This is who the NWA world champion is. And it's intriguing. It's
Well, first off, Tim Storm is an impressive guy to hold the NWA title. The thing about it is, and maybe it's the title that does this or whatever, but the NWA Championship, I don't want to see that on just anybody. I want to see that on somebody that's worthy. We grew up with Ric Flair, Terry Funk, Briscoe.
Ron Garvin. No, I'm just kidding.
Ronnie Garvin. Harley Race. These are like men. Like men who could kick ass, basically, and were worthy of being the NWA World Champion, Terry Von Erich, etc. To see somebody, and not to even down him, but like AJ Styles, for example. AJ Styles, who's probably, 2017, still one of the best talents out there. It was hard for me to watch him as the NWA World Champion, and maybe it's because I wasn't, as a fan, ready to pass the torch over to a younger generation. I don't know. But Tim Storm is, in a way, a throwback. He's actually, I think, they said he's the oldest NWA World Champion, I think, as far as his age versus his title run. Not the longest, but like he's the oldest guy to be the NWA champion. I don't know how old he is. He does look a little older. He's definitely seasoned, but he's a good representation, I think, of the NWA product. And we're going to get into, and it goes back to what he was saying, too. I was watching NWA Hollywood.
Well, can I finish my point real quick? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
The point I was going to make was that it looks like already, even though he just started, Corgan just started with this, he's already properly using social media. Mm-hmm. He's bringing some of the older, like you said, I like the nostalgia. I like my biggest complaint with WBE is that they want you to go on Twitter when it suits them. But you go on Twitter or social media all the time. So you can see a Bray Wyatt who's ill or Bo Dallas who's ill, but WWE doesn't want you to know that because it's not, you can't have both ways. If you're going to use it, if you're going to tout your social media, then you need to accept that people are going to see even things that may be personal and Billy Corgan seems to have a good grasp on keeping things current by using social media, but also giving a little bit of that nostalgia. And I think that so far, and it's very early, so far it's clicking. And I've heard Tim Storm's name more in the last 3 weeks than I've probably heard in the last 10 years.
All right, now,
and that's
just a question. I'm sitting there listening to you, and I do understand what you're saying. But you're saying Tim Storm this, Tim Storm that, NWA Corgan. He is, you don't want to say a lot of people, as a worker, he's a mark. He marks out for wrestling. He's got this vision. But you also got to see what the workers are going to do, what the workers want. Because you can make Tim Storm big, and what's the first thing that's going to happen? If he starts becoming a name, what's going to happen?
Vince is going to
snatch his ass up.
Yeah.
Right.
Vince ain't dumb. He'll let you do all the legwork.
Right.
And he's money. You're not going to compete with that money like that. What he needs to do is go get some of those old-time bitter workers that Vince screwed the fuck over. We can cuss them out, guys. That screwed over. Have them come in and help out also, because then you have the loyalty.
Okay.
Any guy that wants to make it, wants to go to WWE, I'm sorry.
Well, that's the thing, too. Corgan actually said there are a lot of people who have reached out to him and said, listen, keep me in your Rolodex. I want, and they're playing it safe. They want to see what's going to happen.
I mean, let's just it's a who's who right now. You got Damien Sandow, you got Austin Aries.
You're saying keep me in your Rolodex.
Yeah.
The reason me, who used to be a promoter, hate people that say that, they want you to do all the work. We had that problem when we were doing the ACPW.
Yeah.
We were competing, all of a sudden we're building up. Now everyone wants to come in and kiss your ass and want to be on your show. My motto was, my guy started this. That's who the people are coming to see. I'll have you come in and film, but you're not going to dictate to what we do.
Right.
Or just because you have a name. Speaking of, and I'll say it because I can fight, Big Vito came there with that shit, and I'd have put him in his place.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, LeGrand was going to put him in his place, and Kwame was going to put him in his place. But that's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of place putting.
But you don't come in for all these guys. If you got
That's
these
right.
guys going to be on the ground floor helping out, which I'm totally with. I totally believe in that. If he has his vision, don't start bringing the names later on just because they were a name. And I mean, were a name. Vince still made that name. Half of them can't even use the name.
Yeah.
Because Vince owns a name. Unless you're like gay like Ryback and change your name to Ryback. I mean, and I'll say it because that's, he had to change his name. He wasn't that big a thing in WWE. WWE made him big, and then his head got big. Let's get honest. After a while, you knew what he was going to do. It was the same crap. It was boring. He was a filler after a while.
Yes.
And that's what he didn't want. He thought he was Flair. He thought he was Cena, who Cena I hate. That's what he thought he was. He just wasn't that. But NWA, if he's going to start this, the ground up, like he's saying, with this vision that he has, he can't forget about the guys who are helping him on that vision. Like the guys that are going to be on that ground floor with him. Even if they're not a great worker, you still got something for them. You know what I mean?
That's his point. He said, the problem with competing and the problem with, and it goes back to the Monday Night Wars and it goes back to the buyout, is that, he was like, what did it do? It gave you one place to work, and if you didn't make it here, you had to go find something and scrape. Before TNA came back in there, into the faction, when TNA came in, there was no other place to go. And you were working the indies, and you were making not even a third of what you were making based on being in WCW or WWE or whatever it was.
Work it right, and not have these guys on the road for 320 days a year.
Right. So Corgan basically says
he will get people that'll come and give their all. You can't give your all if you're wrestling.
And here's the thing: he's got such a great. I do believe in what his vision is in a perfect world, but it's not realistic. I don't think, because of the fact that, like he said, rather than compete, let's all build the wrestling business because we all win. I mean, it is a common sense thing that if we give everybody something to watch, wrestling will build itself back up again. And we've seen it with guys like EC3. They had him in NXT, did nothing with him, couldn't get him over. He comes over to TNA, becomes this big star. And he's a workable star, and I think he is something to work with now.
Hold on.
You
watch wrestling, am I correct?
I do. Yes.
The dude's robotic.
Well, but he's over, though.
He's over because he's on there all the time.
He's over.
I'm sorry. You can say what you want. He is robotic, and his interview, his mic skills.
Well, his mic skills, I don't like his mic skills because he sounds like he's having a conversation.
If you can work the mic, you're automatically a star. I'm sorry.
Well, that's true.
People say whatever they want to say about in-ring work. If you're a mic man, if Corgan's going to do this, he needs to work on things like that with his guys because the mic is what gets you over.
And here's the problem. You said this before, is that a lot of guys are just coming out of the WWE workshop, whatever the fuck they call it, and they've been nowhere. They have no experience.
They're not workers.
They're not workers.
They bring these guys in off the street because of a look.
Right.
If you didn't pay your dues, I don't give a shit who you are. I don't want to hear it.
And it's not about, and to your point though, it's not about, oh well, pay your dues because I did. It's about pay your dues because it makes you do this correctly.
No, pay your dues because you respect the business.
Right, but you know what I mean though. Like, in other words, how am I supposed to do this job? How am I supposed to do this job to the credit of what brought people to watch wrestling in the first place? And we can go back to the Roddy Pipers, and we can go back to the Ric Flairs, and we can go back to Jake Roberts and stuff like that. These guys that know how to do it, how do we do that and keep that level going on if we don't know how to do what they did? And how did they learn how to do what they did? By, once again, paying their dues and working these other shows. And they worked shit where they didn't know if it was going to work. And if it didn't work, they got a crowd reaction and they changed it and stuff like that. And that's what comes down to, like you're saying, like, you know, paying your dues. Coming out of the plant as like a product off of an assembly line, just going into NXT does not mean you're paying your dues. You're still in a protected WWE environment.
That's the problem we're having right now in the world of wrestling. Like a lot of those NWA guys he's going to have, if they've been on those indies, I'll take those guys any day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They know how it is to go and set up a ring, wrestle, they have to break it down and help
folding chairs, doing security,
doing
so
stuff like that.
So
Thank you for security.
Driving
Security
2-3 hours for a damn pig dick dinner, and if you don't know what that is a hot dog.
Yeah.
You get a hot dog, a soda, thank you very much, smack on the ass, now take the damn ring down. The fact of the matter is, and that this type of thing gets to me. My first year in wrestling, I did 1,000 matches.
Right.
1,000 damn matches. I got my ass handed to me more than a little bit because I was the kid. And you're going up and down the road 3-4 hours at a clip, 8-hour drives from Pennsylvania to North Carolina to Tennessee to wherever, and you're getting your butt handed to you, and you don't get paid for gas, you don't get any money to really get any place to stay, so you're staying in your damn car.
Right.
And you get it's this overwhelming sense of entitlement that pisses me off the most when it comes to a lot of these guys who are gym rats and so forth, and they, hey, you know what? You got a 6-pack. You're about 6'1". You look really good. Let me throw these tights and baby oil on you and put you out there for the girls to get wet to, so I can sell a few T-shirts. And you know what? That's great if it works for you.
Yeah,
but I'm
not going to sit there and down certain people.
Yeah, but it sucks at the same time.
He's a star now. Look at Braun Strowman. He was a power lifter.
Yeah,
there was years ago. He knew he was already going to WWE. He never worked at Indies. He wasn't trained. I mean, he's over. He's a big dude, but it's a shame that
it's a shame. But also too, it goes to what you were just saying.
If he was in those indies, like NWA,
he doesn't work that well.
No, if you had guys NWA, I'm going back to, and I don't want to get off subject.
Right,
those guys have been on the road, and you're building something. And I hope he actually listens to this podcast. You know, just because you got money and can buy something, you still got a lot to learn. You got these guys coming in that'll work their asses off. They'll give you 100% every day. They'll lay down, do whatever you want if they believe in what you do. See, Vince and them used to have that back in the day.
Sure.
It used to be like that. Now it's a business, which it is. You're there to make money. But if you don't care about the sports entertainment, they want to call it, you shouldn't be there. If it's all this is a business, like everyone says this, and this, right? Y'all know I don't like Cena because I think he's been just too long. But that's how he treats it now. It's a business. Everything's a business to him. You know, about how much money, what are my ratings. That's bullshit. That's just me saying that. All right? Some people agree, listen to the cast to understand. But with NWA, if he takes that, I'm not even going to say core. If you go down and start looking at dudes that they go to work all day. They go to the gym. They practice their craft. They got kids. They're married. Then they go do the match and then go back to work, some of these dudes. Those are the dudes that you want backing you up, helping you out. Not this guy that lives with his mama who don't hold a job. They think they're going to live off of wrestling. Some dudes do that. If you don't like what I'm saying, I can fight. They live off of wrestling.
I can hire security.
No, they live off of wrestling, but that's all they think of. Yeah, that's your dream, but there's still a responsibility. You know what I mean? Guys that make it, some guys give it their all. They paid their dues. That's what you look for. Not some dude who's 6'4", blonde hair, blue eyes, who's never been in the ring, and you say, I'm going to train him for 6 months, and this will be my champion. That's bullshit, because you get a seasoned vet in there, they'll break his fucking neck. You know? But, back to
Steven Regal.
See, I don't want to get off subject, but if they want to build something, like he said, he's not going to compete with Vince because all Vince got to do is flash money.
And you know what? And he doesn't want to.
Money and take the guys.
And the smart thing is he doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to.
And that is the smart. And that's what goes back to says I don't want to make. He says too many times people make promises and they can't back it up. They can't do it. He said, I'm not going to be that guy. He goes, I find that that's the number one thing that happens up front is that these federations come in, they make promises, and they can't keep them.
Yeah, and then that's strike one, you know.
Right.
They said they were going to do this, and they didn't do it.
Especially from the fan aspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
The seasoned fan like Mark, all of us here.
Right.
You're like, really? This is some bullshit. You know, like
I see it happening, right, and now I'm tuning out.
Well, part of me is like, I want this to happen now. Like, I want an alternative because I love NXT. NXT is probably why I have the network, other than the stuff,
the classic stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
I cannot sit. I'm sorry. I know that we do this podcast, and I'm saying this out loud. I feel like an alcoholic. I'm coming clean. I have an issue because I can't watch wrestling anymore. I can't watch 3 hours of Raw that makes no sense with a booking that has a guy dressed as a woman facing a guy dressed as a pumpkin. I can't do it anymore because I never thought I would be that guy. That was you, Dan.
Yeah.
That was you 10 years ago.
Yeah, but he was way
And I'm like,
Junior.
and even if you go back to season, even if you go back to season 1 of this show, when we had the videos, I said I'm tired of the people saying there's nothing good going on. There's so much, and there is a lot of good about the product these days, but I'm now starting to like, I'm overwhelmed with a negative.
But like, all right, Mark, I'm gonna get.
We're going before hold your
note.
note for a second because we're going to get into Mark's intervention in just a moment. We got to break away for
Cut me off for a commercial.
For a commercial.
Cutting Charles off.
We got to pay the bills.
Oh,
We got to pay the bills.
My bad.
Got to pay the bills. We're going to be back right after this.
Since 1974, Canon Entertainment has been serving the tri-state area, providing professional musical entertainment to thousands of our customers. Canon Entertainment doesn't just play music, we are professional musical entertainers. We have personality, talent, and each DJ has a minimum of 7 years experience. We are especially trained for events like the one you're planning. We will customize your event to make it everything you want, and we'll give you our many years of experience to make it even more. Don't gamble with your affair. Be sure to choose the best. Canon Entertainment. Check us out on the web at canonentertainment.com. Call us now.
That's right. You want to call them at 610-449-8908. Ask for Rob. Tell him you heard about it on That Way Cool Wrestling Show. I'm going to leave it at that because he probably doesn't do anything for it. But we are live in the Canon Entertainment Studios. He paid me an extra $10 for that as well. So, but getting back, go ahead.
Where's my $250?
I know, I got to split it up. I need coins.
Oh,
go ahead, Charles.
Mark. I've noticed something. When I watch, it might be 40 minutes here, 20 minutes here. I actually rather watch NXT like yourself, SmackDown, and I'm a Lucha Underground, which I'm so sad that's not going to be around soon. But they're trying to go back to something that they knew they missed. See, that little Attitude Era what made all the money, made all these big stars. Nowadays, with everything that's going on in the world, you can't be PG. I think everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Even with NWA, you don't want to be ECW at all because that's just a certain type of group.
It was his own special entity.
Yeah.
Yes.
You pretty much got to go just a little edgy, but not over the top. You know, I think WWE's trying that now, but now you just don't have the guys that can do it.
Well, you know what? I think WWE is scrambling. Because even Scott Hall, literally, I saw it the other day, he was quoted as saying that 3 hours of Raw is hard to get through.
It is. Well, okay, so look at NXT. NXT is 1 hour a week, okay?
Yeah.
They can tape a month's worth of shows in 3-4 hours at Full Sail University in Florida. And they can have someone...
Pretty bad you knew that, but go ahead.
It's okay. If I ever go down to Florida, I'm going to hit up a show. I'm a Mark, okay? So the fact is that they can have top
to the name one show at a time.
So top talent, you have like Roderick Strong, okay?
Yes.
Roderick Strong doesn't wrestle 5 times in that 3-hour show. So you have a chance if you tune into NXT. You're not going to see Roderick Strong every single week. There might be a video clip. Hey, this is what happened last week, or hey, Roderick Strong's looking for revenge.
Right.
But you're not going to. With Raw, it's 3 hours, and it's hard to fill that 3 hours.
Well, you know what? It's hard, and I want you to continue what you're saying, but it's hard because the saturation of the talent is so much. Like you said, you're watching every single week. That talent might come out 2 times, 3 times during the show, and they have so much. How many times has Charles said this? They have so much talent to pull from, and we see the same 10 people every single week.
And that's my point.
Or,
I mean,
or 44-year-old champion that's Superman.
Right, or that's not on the show.
Right.
or not on the show.
Yeah.
Or not on
comes
the show.
back.
Well,
After
me,
not being on TV and he's a main event all of a sudden.
Right.
I don't give a shit who you are.
Right.
Yeah, I know he sells shirts. He makes you money.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be there forever.
No.
And people got to learn how to step down.
Right.
I'm not going to say step down. I'll say step back a little bit. Because one of the people that I do admire, and I think he does a lot of work in the back, I'm not sure, The Miz. The Miz will put
Yes.
people over.
Yes.
You know, he calls people out. He did what he had to do, he did it. Which at one point I used to hate that guy.
Yeah,
As
I
a
never
worker-
liked him
as a
until
worker,
recently.
though, you
Yeah.
look at him, you got to be like, yeah,
He's solid.
He's doing what's best
Yeah.
for the show.
But now also too, then it goes down to like, is WWE just squeezing that tube of toothpaste down to, you know what I mean? Like, when you get to like where you start
And then all of a
rolling
sudden they
it.
got to bring Triple H back. To
Yeah,
get the
yeah,
ring.
you're
At
rolling it
68
up
years
again.
old.
and that's where I was going with all this. When you have the Shield reunited, hey, that was a great moment for those who liked it. I was indifferent to it.
I was watching
But-
the Cleveland show.
But that was a big deal. There were people that wanted to see that for months, okay? And that was a huge moment. Yet they're all over the give away.
goes around
You
them.
They
need
gave
to
him
take
too
a
much.
week off. Yeah.
It's too much.
But see, they weren't even waiting for it for months. Because to be honest with you, the ones who really cared about the Shield wanted to see this a long time ago. Because the founding members of the Shield, the core group, the guys who you tuned in every day because they were kicking the hell out of people, they were floundering.
Yeah.
You put one guy in a bulletproof vest.
I know.
And you parade him out there.
You had the same vest.
Well,
Don't
wait,
go there. I remember. Hold on. No, wait a minute. I remember you had that black vest. We were up in Reading. You had that vest.
So?
Okay, I'm just saying. Don't be throwing shit on because he had a bulletproof vest. But go ahead.
But I had it first.
Well, the Grand didn't parade.
No, I'm just saying. But getting away from it when I was still super active and this, that, and the other, and I knew guys like Moxley and all that, and they were
Yeah.
coming in and they were killing it. And you break them up, and it's just one of those things where you just need to. It just needed to happen sooner.
Yeah.
It just needed to happen sooner.
It seemed like it all, the way they wrote it though, it was so obvious that it was going to happen.
Well, I'll tell you another reason
I
why.
could have did that on like a pay-per-view when I'm getting jumped and the other two running out. That'd have been like a
Yeah.
huge pop.
Like the night that
Yeah, I think it was
Stone Cold-
wasted on just
Yeah.
being in a locker room and just saying,
Yeah, like
"Hey,
somebody
we're gonna do
getting
this."
jumped in the locker room and they come to see and they're all standing there like, yo, dude.
Face to
right?
face. Like, in other words, they
Yeah.
go in there to do something, not even thinking about it, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're like, oh, well, we're the last ones here. Like,
Let's
what's
do
going
this.
on?
It's like when
Right.
the Stone Cold, Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels got together at Mania, and they
Yeah.
took on,
Oh, that was
out of the years that you've been watching it, and there were so many iconic moments. One of the most iconic moments of the new age is when you saw these. I have to call them icons of wrestling
Yeah.
because of the things that they've done.
Yeah.
You can't deny how much of a poignant moment in some kid's life,
Yes.
or an adult who's been a fan forever, seeing their heroes get back together. Stone Cold's neck is broken; he'll never wrestle again. He has all these health issues. Shawn Michaels and
So
all
when the
his health
Crash Crew comes back, you gonna be happy and proud like a little kid.
You damn
But go
right.
ahead, yeah.
I'll be the first to tell you. I'll be sitting front row center cheering.
Hopefully, you'll be able to work a little faster than the NWO did at WrestleMania that
Oh,
one time.
Just
saying.
But getting past all of this and getting back on topic, I'm going to stay optimistic for Mr. Corgan.
Me
I
too.
am.
really
I really
gonna
think it's going to be good.
I'm going to sit.
It's going
back.
to take time.
I'm going to
Yes.
sit back.
Well, he said 20
And I'm
years.
going to give him.
He's giving himself
low.
20 years.
I'm going to give him the time he needs to see his vision either prosper or fail.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like everybody said, it's a business. And if it's too fractured, then you
Right.
fail. But you can't lose sight of who you're paying your business for. You
And
know?
also him being a rock star, 20 years is a long time, bro.
But you
He
know
ain't
what, though?
Keith Richards.
He,
all right?
right, but you know what though?
Keith
Here's the
Richards
deal
and Keith
too, and
Richards.
he made a good point. He said, "Listen, he goes, as a rock star, quote unquote." And he said, "I don't want to use that term, but as a rock star, someone that has other avenues,
Yeah.
like Rolling Stone and other things. they're looking into him, Billy Corgan, and saying, "Hey, what project are you doing?" "Oh, well, here I
So
bought
you
the
can put it out there.
So he could put it out there. So he said, he goes, "My status as a not peripherally just a wrestling person, as a rock star, opens up a lot of windows to say, hey, look at this, and gives mainstream a chance to look at this non-mainstream product." The NWA hasn't been around, even though it's been around. It
Hasn't been relevant.
It hasn't been relevant.
It hasn't been relevant.
Hasn't been relevant since JCP. Okay, and you're talking 91.
It came back in
WCW?
92, 93, WCW, yeah, and then
But it went away. And my understanding is that the NWA was not all fully in with
they didn't want Rick Rude. Yeah, Rick Rude. They wanted to put Rude over, and NWA didn't want that to happen. And
something
WCW
happened.
did
You're
it
right,
anyway.
and they did it anyway. And
Yeah.
there's some controversy there. The WCW and WCW obviously did what they did because they have more money. So they're like, well, whatever. Be thankful your title's getting recognition anymore is what they basically said, which is a slap in the face. But hey, I think it's going to be great. Look out for this May, I believe he said, roughly May, spring, April, May, to start seeing some NWA shows. If Tim Storm is still the champion, he is something to look at. I've been watching some of his tapes, and he's enjoyable in the sense that he's a throwback. Not a complete throwback, but when I'm watching guys like him, I'm thinking nostalgic, and I'm thinking, it's not spot oriented. This is a wrestler. This is a wrestler, brawler, given his size and stuff like that. But he's a wrestler. It wasn't like some spot oriented. He's not doing moonsaults and all this other crap. And it's something he's a man's man holding a man's title, and he's defending it. And I was like, this is what the NWA was. We can talk about this forever. We always say this. But Mr. Corgan, on behalf of That Way Cool Wrestling Show, good luck to you. We hope to be covering this more in the future.
Sign me as a writer.
There you go. Applications are out.
I can be the mush mouth backstage interviewer.
You'll never get through them, Mark. You'd be like salivating.
For LeGrand,
Are you
Onslaught
Tim
Jackson,
Storm?
Charles Gemini Gregory, and Mad Mark Lindsay. My name is Danny J.
Hit him with a hind.
Until next time, we'll see you at the matches. Goodbye, everybody.
Peace out.
The proceeding was produced by DJB Productions. Go to www.thatwaycoolwrestlingshow.com.